Over the last few days, the big thing that is being thrown in Xbox gamers' faces is this whole demo thing. PlayStation announced that they would be doing game demos or game trials, whatever you want to call it, where you're able to play the first 2 to 3 hours of a game, and then you have to decide whether or not to purchase the game. Microsoft, meanwhile, announced Project Moorcroft, which allows indie game developers to release a vertical slice of their game, be compensated for it, but it is behind Xbox Game Pass. I want to be very clear and respond to somebody who has twisted my words or misunderstood my stance on both of these, because I think both of these are good in some ways and problematic in other ways. And I've been very clear about that. Let's talk about the reaction to both of these news stories and some of the comments that I've been seeing. Let's dive right in. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. If you like my content, I do greatly appreciate all of you subscribing. Thank you for watching. So the question I'm addressing today, and I responded to Sam Alton, who apparently did not watch my video. He said, yes, I'm copy pasting the same comment across your vids. You deserve to be asked why you have a 1080 opinion on Microsoft doing paid demos that require devs to do extra work, by the way, for only indie games, but you criticize Sony for doing paid game trials that don't require devs to do extra work for AAA third-party games. What's the sudden shift in tone for? Demos are now good because Xbox is doing them. You call yourself a journalist, the audacity. Well, the problem, Sam, is I never said any of the bullshit that you just wrote in that comment. I never said that it was good for the industry. I don't have a 180 opinion on it. Let's take a listen to what I actually said, seeing you didn't watch the video.
I don't really it has to be a financial reason to tie it to Xbox Game Pass so that they can compensate the developers. I don't know why I would need, as a consumer, to subscribe to something, to try out something, if it's truly altruistic and that they're trying to get exposure for these devs. It's just like, well, just let them release their demos like you did for ID at Xbox in the past. So
to reiterate, seeing you don't actually watch my content, what I'm saying is I do think that it's better marketing from Microsoft the way that they presented it. I still think that those demos should be free, the way that they were free for the ID at Xbox event, where they released like 50 demos that were free for anybody to try. You could just download all these games, try them, and it was great. It was a really fun experience. And separately, continuing to address your comment, it requires them to do extra work. It is a completely optional thing that indie developers can choose to participate in. So your comment is just so wrong. Not only did I not say the things that you said I said, which I've been hounded about a little bit because I don't know why. I never said those things. I have some issues with the way Xbox is doing it, and I've actually said that I like some of the stuff PlayStation is doing. And again, seeing people don't seem to watch my content, let's just play this back a little bit. This is the first video I made coming back from vacation. The PlayStation 5 has had a ton of good press lately, and the latest was all about their strategies in 2022 and into the future. They've shed their past disdain for services like Xbox Game Pass and instead are offering their own service, a revamped PlayStation Plus. They have plans to expand into PC and mobile, and their live service strategy going forward could leave them set up for even further success than they've already seen. During their recent IR Day 2022, they laid out 5 ruthless strategies that are sure to upset console purists, but more importantly, give Xbox some pause as those numbers get closer and closer, due in part to the semiconductor shortage. So there I am praising Sony for their adjustment of strategies. I actually really like what they are doing with PlayStation Plus for the most part. I still do not like that they're making 2 to 5 hour demos mandatory for any game priced over $36. Now, if you miss that part, here it is. Here's what we've heard. PlayStation will also offer time-limited game trials as part of its PlayStation Plus premium plan. These trials will last 2 hours, and game save data will carry over if you decide to purchase the game. Now, just to be clear, I actually kind of like the idea of a 2 to 5 hour demo of a game or a trial and then your progress carries over. Like you get access to that, and then you have to purchase it. But the rub is, not only are you going to have to pay $70 for the game, but you're also paying your, what is it, $15, $16 subscription fee. So you are actually going to end up paying $86 per game, right? But at least you get to try for 2 to 5 hours and decide if the game is for you. So you can try like 20 games. I don't love that it's behind a paywall. I think if you really want people to play your games, that you should allow them to try them out for like the base tier. That feels like it should be just part of the base tier. If you're on PlayStation, not Plus, PlayStation. Yeah, PlayStation Plus. Sorry. They merged it all together, so I'm blanking on that. But I'm still not a huge fan of it. I'm especially not a huge fan of them making it a requirement. The rumor is that it is a requirement that they are behind that paywall. And let's hear what the Xbox said. So Sarah Bond revealed Project Moorcroft, and let's hear what was said during this interview.
Project Moorcroft. And someone says you may have the answer and some news around that.
I may have the answer. So we had realized, we were sitting around as a team thinking, we said, remember it used to be you go to E3, you go to PAX, and you would go visit some of your favorite creators, and they would have a piece or a level of a game that you could sit there and play.
Yes.
And there would be someone from the studio like right next to you in your ear being like
Matt.
Press that button, go under there, do that stuff. And you would get to experience the game, and they would get to generate excitement about what they're building and what's coming next. Those opportunities are getting smaller and smaller and more difficult to replicate. And they're especially difficult for indie developers, smaller studios that don't have, as much resource to necessarily put on their own show, attract a big audience. So we said, why don't we take Game Pass and make it like the show floor? Why don't we make it possible for a developer to take a piece, a level of their game, release it into Game Pass, generate excitement for what's coming, and also get that really valuable feedback as they're tuning and preparing their game for launch?
So Sarah, I got a question for you. So demos are great for all the reasons you just outlined, right? As developers, we love them, get the game out early in the hands of players. They're also work. And it's work that tends to show up when you're trying to get a game done. So how are we going to work with the developers to acknowledge that that's extra work that we would be asking them to do?
We really recognize that. It's important to us that everything we do has benefit for both our players and for creators. So as part of this, we've set up the program and structured it so that the developers actually get financial compensation for the game and actually benefits them financially, and also get the benefit of the great feedback as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh! What was that? They're going to actually pay the developers and not just require that it be made. So not only is it optional, but they're going to get free promotion, and they're going to be compensated for their time. So Sam and anybody else who doesn't seem to understand the difference between requiring any developer who makes a game above $36 to give away 2 to 5 hours of that for free without any sort of option, which is what the report has said. And I hope that's not true. I hope PlayStation walks that back. If you don't understand the difference between that for everybody versus allowing indie devs the optional opportunity to create a demo for their game, be paid for creating that demo, and get free promotion via Xbox Game Pass, if you don't see the difference there, then I don't know what else to tell you at that point. However, there is one thing that I want to say. I don't particularly like either of these strategies. I think Project Moorcroft should be free. It shouldn't be behind Xbox Game Pass. I understand that they need the financial aspect to compensate the developers, right? And if PlayStation's doing the same thing, I'll be a little bit more understanding about their strategy also. But I feel like these types of options for gamers should be free across the board, and both of them have the rub. Now, Sarah Bond and everybody at that table is trying to say, oh, look how good we're helping out these indie devs. But let's be honest, it's marketing, right? And if they truly wanted to help the indie devs, make those demos free for all gamers, at least on Xbox Live, because you're being compensated for Xbox Live, even if people don't happen to have Game Pass. So I understand the business strategy. I still don't love it. And that has been my consistent stance since both of these have been announced. So don't tell me what I think. Maybe you've seen other people praising it, but A, they are very different in how Microsoft is presenting it versus how Sony is presenting it. And my hope is that Sony is not forcing developers to do that. Let's read what they actually said in the press release about Moorcroft. We're also revealing the first details of Project Moorcroft, a program that brings the fun and discovery of playing new curated demos of upcoming games to our Xbox Game Pass members. The program will begin rolling out within the next year, beginning with a focus on providing independent developers from around the world more opportunities to build excitement for their games. Participating developers, again, participating if you want to, will be able to show how their demos perform and be compensated, enabling them to bring their creativity to Xbox and reach new audiences with Game Pass. Do you understand how it's different now? It's different. Now, overall, do I like this new initiative of PlayStation and Xbox locking things behind a paid tier for you to access them? No, I do not. I do not like that either company is doing it. I feel a little bit better that we know very clearly that the developers are being compensated if they choose to participate in the Xbox platform versus saying anybody who makes a game over $36 has to participate, and we don't know anything about the compensation on the PlayStation side. Ideally, what PlayStation would do is come out and clarify, hey, we're compensating our developers based on their metrics for these time trials that we're forcing everybody to do. And you know, our hope is that it allows them the same thing that Xbox is doing, the appropriate feedback. So that is my reaction, just to make it crystal clear in case somebody wants to leave another comment who does not watch my content and think that I am blindly praising either of these programs. I am not. I like free demos. I like to be able to try games. And if Xbox wants to do that, they should. I really loved what they did with ID at Xbox. When they did the ID at Xbox things, all those games, like 50 of those games were available to play. I think I played like half of them. Some of them weren't great, weren't for me. And there were a few that I discovered that I was like, hey, this is pretty interesting. So that's what I would like to see in the future. Let me see if there was. Yeah, so here's the Forbes article talking about the GameDeveloper.com interview. Let's see if he actually links to the original story. Time game trials are now a requirement for some PlayStation developers. Sony is requiring some devs. Let's see if there was an update to this story. Update. This number was previously referred to as retail pricing. Is an update to reflect that it refers to wholesale pricing. These trials must be at least 2 hours long, so it's 2 to 5 hours long. As a previous version of the story stated that the new policy applied to games that cost $34 at retail, we've updated the article to clarify that the amount refers to the wholesale price. Sony did not get back to them, but that is the story that we are operating off of, and it does not seem like there has been an update. Here's what Sarah Bond said also in an interview. So we said, you know what? We don't care. We don't take. I think this is exactly what she just said in the video that we just watched. So yeah. And then Matt Booty commented, it's important to us that everything we do has benefit for both our players and for creators, Bond replied. So as part of this, we've set up the program and structured it so that the developers get financial compensation for the game. It actually benefits them financially and also get the benefit from the great feedback as well. There you go. I don't have anything else to say about the topic. I've made my stance as clear as I possibly can. So enjoy your weekend, everybody. And thank you to everybody who watches my content and understands where I'm coming from, gives me the benefit of the doubt, and isn't a tryhard like Sam. Sam, I guess I appreciate you too, but maybe watch the videos next time. If you like my content, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when they go live. And you know what? A big shout out to the members who have supported me for a long time. Floyd, Connor, Geezer, Brandon, Nathaniel, Charles, Derek, Joel. Joel, good to see you back, by the way. If you want to become a member, hit that join button. And thank you to everybody else who is a member. I greatly appreciate all of you. Yeah, I'm going to get out of here, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.